Good morning, Light of Christ. I just wanted to say something about mask wearing for our prayer meeting. If you've been following the news, the CDC significantly changed their guidelines on Friday. The Governor Whitner changed some of the state rules on their guidelines for this yesterday. Lots of it's changing fast. We have primarily been following the guidelines of the actual church building whose facility we're using. It's too fast for them to have come out with an official policy. If they had, I was going to forward that to you. But as I went to church this morning, pastor kind of announced we're going to roll with the punches here. We're going to open things up following the recommendations, and let's just continue to work with each other and understand each other. And so what does that mean for us? I did talk to the building facility guy, and the church's committee will meet soon to talk about this, but he said, I think where we're going to end up is that we're not going to make any requirements in our church. We're still going to recommend that people follow the CDC guidelines, and if you haven't been vaccinated, to wear a mask. And if you're sick, stay at home. But I think we're removing the mask wearing requirement at our church. And he kind of said it's up to us in some ways to do the same. And so I just wanted to say a couple comments. One is times of transition are always the most difficult or tumultuous, trying to figure out what are we supposed to be doing, what should we be doing, and there's still lots of opinions. It's funny to see people who had one opinion now. There's a lot of change going on right now, and it's a bit of a transition. So first, I just want to ask that we extend grace to one another. Second, to say that I'm roughly following what my church is doing in dropping the mask wearing requirement. However, I'm still recommending that if you haven't been vaccinated, that you wear a mask, that you follow the guidelines. And we haven't had a chance to talk as a whole council here, so this is partly just my decision here. Now, here's what I would say. When I went to church this morning, I saw people who were vaccinated who were still wearing masks, and I saw people who I knew who weren't vaccinated not wearing masks. And I think that's partly the reality that we're going to be facing in the coming weeks as people still operate under their own consciousness of consciences, sorry, of how to go about this. So all that to say, I expect today that there'll be some people not wearing masks. And I also expect today that there will be some people wearing masks. And that's okay. And actually, that's probably great. Often I found during COVID that there's always a dominant environment. And so if, enough people aren't wearing masks, then everybody takes their masks off. Or if there's enough people wearing masks, then everybody puts their mask on, and we kind of adapt. And I think we don't have to do that anymore, but we can actually be comfortable, or my encouragement would be to be comfortable with a mix, with some people wearing masks, some people not wearing masks. I feel that pressure myself. So I personally have not yet been vaccinated. I know there's a number of people who haven't for a variety of reasons, that maybe still planning to get vaccinated, just haven't had a chance to yet or not. I haven't been yet. I'll be wearing a mask, but I expect plenty of people to not be wearing a mask, and that's okay. All along, it has seemed like actually people who are asymptomatic aren't as contagious as people who are symptomatic. All that to say, this will be a bit of a transition. We're still going to need to figure this out. But for today, there'll be people not wearing masks, and there'll be people wearing masks. And that's great. Let's continue to extend courtesy, and also not assume that someone who's wearing a mask hasn't been vaccinated and someone who's not wearing a mask has been vaccinated. That's something obviously we can't assume. So people will have their own reasons for wearing masks or not. And don't assume that you know why they will be or not. Anyway, all that to say, a new transition. This is all happening fast. We kind of have to react fast, and hopefully over the coming weeks or so, we'll have a little bit more time to actually figure out what's going to be a good balance, a good way of moving forward together in unity. So that's key. So I hope I said everything that I needed to say there. Plenty of room for people to do what their conscience tells them to do today. And I think we'll have a little bit of both, mask wearing and not mask wearing, and that's great. That's fine. So look forward to seeing all of you today for our prayer meeting. And please let me know if you've got a question, and if I have an answer, I'll tell it. If I don't have an answer, I'll tell you that as well. Looking forward to being with you all today. God bless.